Well, hey, and welcome to another episode of Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast here on Monday. Thanks for joining us. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. If you're on the podcast, listen to it on any of your favorite players and join our free Facebook group, Tree Service Marketing Secrets, if you want to learn more tips about tree service marketing, advertising, and kind of how to get more customers from the internet. Today, we've got Sarah with Quality Diversified Services with us, and she's going to share the business story of Quality Diversified Services, who does a lot of tree work and other related tree service type related services. And they've been around quite some time. So Sarah, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me, Wesley. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it was great. It's just always really fun to talk about the business and how you guys got started, what you guys are doing. So thanks for sharing. Other people are going to get a lot of value out of this. So when did you guys get started, and kind of tell me a little bit about the business and how everything's going now?
Okay, so we're family owned and operated. My dad started the company back in 1993, so we'll be 31 this year. And he started as a lawn maintenance company, actually, which I've found that a lot of guys in this industry have started there and kind of made their little pipeline transition over to tree work. But it's kind of a unique story of how we got started. So he started as lawn maintenance, and he, at the time, had 4 children, very young children, and kind of saw a need to put food on the table. So he pretty much would do whatever it took to get food on the table. I have personally had very, very early memories of like going out and helping him plant flowers or lay pine straw, just whatever it took kind of situation. And then over the years, he found that people would come to him and say, hey, like, I really appreciate the work that you do. You do great work. Do you know how to hang a ceiling fan? Do you know how to, like, can you change like my sink or something? So he kind of also got into other things like handyman related stuff kind of, but lawn maintenance always stuck. So he, pursued that, and my brothers grew up in that. And then as they got older, they kind of started taking over kind of the physical labor part, and he would do more of the sales part. There was one
brings back
job.
a lot of memories. That brings back a lot of memories of my childhood, because my dad had a plumbing company for over 30 years. And so I would go out, and I was kind of the helping hand, on the weekends, or sometimes when school was out in the summertime. So I had similar experiences working with my dad's company like that.
Yeah, I have this one memory. I don't know how old I was. I was probably about 7 or 8, and we were in our family station wagon. It was very late at night. We were going to clean an office, like an office building. So people just saw that he had a servant's heart, and he just very much wanted to serve. And they just asked him to do a lot of stuff, and he always said yes. And if he didn't know how to do it, he just figured it out along the way. And yeah, it really did get us to where we are today with that whole attitude and that whole mindset. So it's really good in that capacity, But kind of how we got into tree work is they had gotten hired by a local city to do a larger tree job. So in lawns, you do like small tree trimming jobs and stuff like that, but they got hired to do a larger one. And at the time they had like an old late 80s 12-inch chipper and like a dump truck, and it's like 2012 maybe at that point. So it was sufficient to what they needed, but they got into the job. It was some Leland cypresses, and I mean, Lelands, they get kind of big. So they found out they were a little in over their heads. So one of my younger brothers, Joseph, went to my dad and said, hey, I see tree work being really lucrative. I think it's a good move transition for our company to get into that a little bit heavier than what we currently do. And my dad was like, okay, well, let's stand out, like what can we do to stand out? So he did a lot of research, and in a week, like about a week's time, they spent about $1 million that we didn't really have. They bought the BIK 126 grapple saw truck, the crane, and a 2131 more bark chipper within a week. So it was pretty big transition from doing one
Yeah, let's go get
Yeah.
this equipment. So obviously there was some demand there. Like you guys had some customers kind of starting to come out of the woodwork that needed tree service. I
Yes.
guess that was kind
Yes.
of moving up a little bit.
Yeah. And at that point, we weren't really doing any like intentional marketing other than just like word of mouth and lots of faith and prayer. And so after that, they got into doing the mail outs, tree leads today. So currently we do still use tree leads today, and it's phenomenal. We really do like their premise and everything. And then social media, you know, word of mouth, all those good things. I am constantly trying to educate myself further in the marketing world because I have zero background in marketing. So I am the sales and marketing director, and I know that's a little ironic, but you know.
Well, that's great. That's a good backstory. I mean, a lot of people that we've talked to before, and just other conversations I've had in the past, a lot of people do get started in kind of the lawn care or the landscaping side of things. And eventually, for whatever reason, they either get the tree service bug or it just kind of leads them in that direction at some point. And like you said, they'll do some like light tree trimming and things like that, but they're constantly having to pass up on certain business with the trees that are maybe taller or removal or land clearing or things like that that are more profitable, and they don't have the equipment to do it. So they start kind of thinking, I think that light bulb goes off. It's like, well, I think if I branched off and did tree service, then I might be able to do higher ticket jobs, maybe less jobs, and stay busy doing that as opposed to the smaller landscaping or lawn care type projects. And we hear that all the time. People, it's just kind of a natural pivot sometimes. You know, is that kind of how it was for you guys? So you guys were doing the lawn care, the landscaping, and then, well, it looks like we need to get into the tree service niche now, it looks like.
Yeah. It was very much a like our customers had a need and we wanted to be able to give them service, you know, like we wanted to be able to serve them in that capacity. So it was kind of a win-win. And you know, sometimes it's a little scary sometimes because I go out and do the estimates and everything, and I've seen some jobs where I'm like, I've got to bring this to my brothers, you know. So I do the sales and the leads and everything. And I actually just started working for my dad's company full time about 2 years ago. So I'm kind of new in it, but I learn something new every day, and I really do love what I do. But like I said, I'm always trying to gain more marketing knowledge, and yeah, so I like your podcast a lot, and I appreciate it because I have listened to other people's testimonies about how they got into it and what they do for marketing, and it really does help to hear how other people implement their creativity and get new customers and take care of old customers and keep return customers. That's a big one. So I
Yeah.
liked over the holiday season, I was like out going door to door bringing Christmas baskets to people and stuff. So I just want to make people feel appreciated for hiring us.
Yeah, that's a great angle, actually. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a lot of the questioning that we do and some of the conversation topics, you know, during these podcast interviews is just helpful to kind of see all the different things you can do for marketing. And some things you don't even really think about until somebody else brings it up, or maybe you thought about
Yeah.
it 5 years ago one time and just forgot about it. And so talking about it and keeping it to the front, it helps everybody kind of just have those ideas to get more customers coming through the door. So what type of maybe customer, who's kind of like your ideal customer nowadays? Like who do you guys service mainly, or well, like what's the mixed bag of customers?
So we like any customer, obviously.
Hmm.
We appreciate them all. We really market towards currently we market towards residential and municipalities. So there's a couple local cities that we do a lot of work for. So we really like large trees. We do a good bit of tree trimming, but it is mainly tree removal that we do. And then with like our forestry mulching, we like to get in with certain cities, and sorry, we like to get their ponds. So that's always a good one because those are kind of regulated and we can put it on a schedule. But we do like return customers too. We're always grateful for people who come back to us and are loyal. And but like I said, I'm grateful for any customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So residential, kind of maybe the ones that you're marketing to, kind of the bread and butter, maybe, and then you have the government municipalities. I think that's a very smart mix because some people get caught up and just all in one side of the business, like either
Yeah.
all commercial, all government contracts. They're massive contracts sometimes, but any little thing that happens can throw your business completely off, off the rails, right? So it's like
Exactly.
good to have a big mixed bag of customer base. And I think the residential is good. That's good for repeat and referral business. There's a lot of ways to do that with email marketing, text marketing, mail outs like you did, or just, thank you cards, stuff like that. And
Hmm.
then also with the government contracts, yeah, that'll kind of keep you busy during the slow season a lot of times too, because you have this like work that's already on the calendar coming up next quarter or the quarter after. So I think that's a really smart mix. And we always kind of talk to customers about that, go after those types of contracts that you can solidify because the residential it's more of like a roller coaster. I think like sometimes it's really busy and then sometimes it might
Yeah.
be slower. So it's good to do
Yeah.
some of those maintenance jobs, I think, in the slower season like now, right?
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Definitely like right now. And I know like we're in that good kind of sweet spot in the South where it doesn't get too cold and we don't really get snowed out. But I know a lot of guys up north it's heavy snow up there and that's rough. So I am
Yeah.
grateful for our location too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it seems like about, midway up the US and south, they stay pretty busy year round. There's some slow spots. I mean, the phone kind of slows down after Thanksgiving, as you probably know,
Yeah.
and then through Christmas and New Year's, and then people finally get back on their feet when the kids are back in school and it starts kind
Hmm.
of getting back to normal. But yeah, up north, I mean, some of those guys do pivot and do like commercial snow plowing and things like that because the residential ones, it seems to be kind of just a trip that you go out to and it's just a small job. So they typically want to get the commercial ones where they can come back weekly or monthly every time it snows.
Right.
But that's kind of a big service up north for a lot of our clients. And then in the South, but like you said, I mean, most people stay pretty busy, especially in Florida. It's pretty year round down there,
Yeah.
except for in certain little pockets of like northern part of the state.
Yeah.
But that's good. So a good mixed bag of different types of clients. And then what do you guys do? Do you guys have like a CRM where you put all of your customers into, like a database?
So yeah, currently I use QuickBooks and I have like a calendar spread where it's like a digital calendar. So I use Jotform a lot to create my work orders. We played around with a couple different venues like I don't remember. I haven't really settled on one. So if there's anybody
Yeah.
out there listening that wants to sell your CRM, I'm your perfect target.
Well,
uh,
we have a partner affiliate link with Jobber. They're kind of one of the, minimum viable product. It's good to have everybody in the database. You can send out your invoices, your estimates, and all of that in one,
yeah,
software. I think with like the minimum program, you can have like 5 users. So people out in the field, the sales marketing, department, the office manager, the crew people out, they can all be kind of logged into the same app. And then you can
yeah.
find the customers and stuff. So that's one of them. There's Arbor Gold, Single Ops, Arbo Star. That's another one that's
Hmm.
kind of catered just to the tree service industry. But yeah, I think any of them, if you just pick one and go with it, I think it just helps you kind of really organize the business,
Right.
and it
Right.
helps for sure.
I definitely need to pick one because what I've got right now is working for me and it works for, my crews and everything and it's good, but we're about to get a new salesperson on and I want her to be I want it to work for her too. I don't want to just go off of what works just for me, obviously. So yeah, I definitely do need to get into one of those. I think we had Jobber for a little while, or I was doing like the free trial of Jobber. But yeah, I need to look back into that. It's just something that I I like, but
Another learning curve. It's another
I
learning curve. Yeah.
yeah, it is. It
Something else to
is.
figure out. Yeah. The long run, it really helps. It's just tough to kind of switch and pivot what you're doing today to kind of doing something different. But those
Yeah.
definitely help. We see like the most explosive growth with people that at least have that in place too, because it just helps everything kind of be more synergistic. Like everybody's on the same page, with like the
Right.
opposite customers, all that
Oh yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
What would you say right now? I think you mentioned like direct mail with Tree Leads today. Is that pretty much your most profitable marketing channel, would you say?
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. We do get a lot of referrals from, customers that we get through that. I would say, well, actually I did an analytics on it for 2023, and we did, I think we had about 10% of our customers were either repeat or referrals, which is pretty good, you know. But the majority, I think about 78% came from tree leads today.
Good deal. Yeah, if you're blanketing the community, blanketing the zip codes with pieces of mail, people have to get that whether they ask for it or not. So
Yeah.
they're going to open their mailbox and they're going to see you guys right there. Hey, give us a call. So those work really well for branding and saturation and things like that too. That's awesome. Okay. And anything that you've like tried and then probably maybe stopped doing because it just wasn't working maybe in the past?
Um, let's see.
Tried Google Ads yourself or any of those other
We
and
tried,
Home Advisor or anything like that?
don't tell my sales rep this, but we tried to do our own mail outs, and I don't think we did enough of them, or maybe the area wasn't right. So it was just like, you know, that was kind of a weird, that was like a weird one, but no.
Signs? Do you guys put out signs in the yards that you're doing the jobs in and stuff like that?
Yep, we do. And then as long as it doesn't say like no soliciting neighborhood, we usually go kind of like door to door and put like door hangers. That one is kind of hit or miss, honestly, because I don't think I've gotten a few estimates. Like I've gotten a few leads from that, but nobody ever like went with it, I guess. So that was an interesting one. But I don't know. I really want, I've made a goal for 2024 to be like my marketing year. So 2023 was like my really heavy sales year. And I know they go hand in hand often, but I want 2024 to be very intentional marketing. So I got a few things on the board coming down, you know. So it's hard to say because I haven't really tried anything new from what we've been doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's working is what's
Some things,
working, and it's helping. So yeah,
yeah, I got some things in the works. So we'll see.
good.
Maybe next year I can come back on and we'll see how it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd always like a follow up, just kind of see what the update is. Now, as far as like getting online reviews, do you guys have any process or tools that you're using for that?
We ask people.
Good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
number one
So
right there.
we ask people, and whenever I send my thank you cards out, I was gonna see, I think I have some around here. I'm gonna show you. So when I send these thank you cards out, see, it's
Oh,
just like a
nice.
regular, you know, QDS Tree Works, and I
Yep.
write a handwritten note on the inside, and then on the back it has this QR code, and it brings you straight to our Google reviews. So I send it
Nice.
out to every customer we service, and then I let them know like, hey, you know, there's a QR code back there if you want to go and leave us a review. We really appreciate it. So we've gotten a good bit from that. This is, I highly recommend a handwritten note. If you have time to sit down and just write a, hey, thank you, we appreciate you. That works for me.
That's probably
It's
great
really
for
good.
referrals. Yeah, I'm sure that
Yeah,
helps with referrals too, because it's like that
yeah,
personal touch, that you really care
exactly.
with them for
And
the
then
business.
when a storm comes in, like if we've got a storm coming in the day before or like 2 days before, I'll call some of our customers and just like, hey, just want to check in, you know, do you guys need anything? Are y'all okay? Those kind of check-in calls, I don't always go in with the mindset of like, I've got to sell something. I'm looking out for you. Like, I want to make sure that you're okay, you know, and they appreciate that. And then they think about me whenever they got trees. So
Perfect. That's what you want to do is just be in front of them constantly. So a couple of things there. That's really good information. So I love the QR code. Everybody learned how to use those during COVID because they had
yeah,
to. Right? You go to the restaurants, so like, look, I mean, our menu's over here on this. You got to scan this. We don't have any physical menus. It's like, oh, okay. So everybody
yeah.
learned how to use them finally. But that's the great option to send out thank you cards. Have it there. Another place to have it is you can put like a little canned response on every invoice that goes out. And it says
Oh
something.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
so much for your business. Did we give you 5-star service? If you could click on this link and leave us a 5-star review, we'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps our phone ring and people make the right decision on the tree company locally that they want to use. Something like that, right? Just
yeah.
reword it, from your business. And then another thing is you can simply just go into your Google business profile. And if you click on reviews, it'll have a little link that says get more reviews. And you can literally copy and paste that little short link and just text it to your customers every time you're on a job. Say, hey, did we give you 5-star service? If so, would you mind just giving us a quick 5-star review? Even if you just highlight the 5-star and hit submit, that would help us tremendously. And then they
Yep.
go, yeah, sure. But then sometimes they can't find it or they don't
Yeah.
remember. So if you'll do it on the job too, sometimes, or have the crew lead do it on the job, you can even incentivize them $10 for every 5-star review. But you could give
Oh,
them
yeah.
that QR code too on like a piece of paper that just has like, quality, your business name. And
Hmm.
then you could have, did we give you 5-star service really large? And then put like 5 stars, like just have like a, 5-star logos right there. And then put scan here to leave us a review. And then like while they're on the job paying the invoice or whatever, they could just do it right there. So
That's a
just,
good idea.
yeah, other little tricks, just because the more you ask, the more you'll get them. And I mean,
Exactly.
some clients get 10 or 20 of those a month, if they really focus on it, because it's just a numbers game, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
that's a good idea. I like that. The in the invoice, we do that too.
perfect.
Absolutely. I think that's such a good, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you'll get them here and there. I mean, even if you get like 3 to 5 reviews a month, they
Yeah,
really add up over the course of a year, 2 years, 5 years. I mean, you're going to be doing business anyway. So,
exactly.
usually when you get 100, 200, 400 reviews, you're just boat racing the competition. And when you get that far ahead, your Google Map listing is likely going to show number one for most of your local area keywords for people search for tree service. It's going to show in the local service ads, the Google guaranteed ads, all of that stuff. So it helps everything. So we always suggest
Absolutely.
doing that. Well, cool. So we learned about the past, where you guys started, lawn care, landscaping, things like that. It's a family business. Everybody's plugged into the company.
Yep.
And you started in the tree service space, kind of getting the equipment really going all in 2012. So about 11 or 12 years now.
Yeah, so we got our crane in 2019. So we've had our crane for, oh gosh, how many years ago was that? Was that like 4 years ago?
Yeah,
Yeah,
4 or 5
I
years
guess
ago.
about 4 years. Yeah, so we've had our crane for about 4 years, but I guess about 10-ish years ago is when they really started thinking that whole, like, this needs to happen. But when they decided, it happened immediately.
That's great. So now would you say you're doing mostly tree service type work?
Yeah, no, yes, yes. We don't do lawn maintenance anymore.
Okay, so kind of phased out of that.
Yeah.
Totally went with the tree service work. Get the residential, the government, municipalities that repeat work. That's really, really good. What are you guys looking to do in the future? Like, what are some of the things that your goals are? Where are you guys headed down the road?
So, some of our goals in the tree company, we want to continue to grow. We want to continue growing our crews, making sure that we can be in multiple places at one time. We want to grow in our we call it eco control, is our other division, basically, where it's vegetation management. I also do sales and marketing for another company that's insurance billing, so we're growing that as well. We're also, well, I know you didn't ask
Insurance
about,
billing on the tree side, like for
yeah,
emergency type work?
yep, yep. So that's global insurance billing, and we bill for contractors across the state, or across the country, actually. And we're hoping to obviously continue growing. That is a big part of what we do, as
That's
well as our tree company. So yeah. And then we just opened a hydraulic supply company, so we're growing that too. And we just don't plan on stopping. We're just going to keep going and doing whatever people need. As long as there's a need, we're going to find a way to meet people's needs.
hence the name Diversified, right? You guys have got a
Exactly.
lot of different things. So the global insurance billing, that's pretty cool. So anybody across the US that has a storm come through, is that kind of what, so they can
Yep.
then contact you to help bill the insurance company or get that going?
Yes. So we provide contracts for all 50 states, and we're full service. So as soon as you get into our program, you become a member. I do sales support, so that if you have questions about how to sell the contract to your homeowners, that kind of stuff, I can help you with all that. We make sure you have all the forms you need, and then we deal with the adjusters, we deal with the insurance company, and you just continue doing your tree job, which is what you do best. So I'm not a claims handler. I just do the sales part of it. So I'm not in the office. We have a whole separate office of people. That's all they do is the claims handling. And they're good at it. And I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, so it's just pretty much like so people get plugged into you guys. How do people find you guys or contact you guys about that? Or you just built up a name in the industry?
Yeah, so we have built up our name in the industry. We've got a good online presence, a lot of Facebook marketing, honestly, which is, we're just getting into our second year right now of this company. So we do, phone call marketing. I'll do like cold calls, which, is okay. I've gotten some good business from it, but I know people don't always like to answer cold calls. So, but we have a good online presence and we know a lot of people in the industry and, yeah, it's good. I've got some marketing ideas for that too coming down in 2024. So
Awesome. Well, you guys are got your hands on a lot of different things. That's really cool. So
yes.
so the Tree Works Quality Diversified Services. Now with the vegetation management, is that mainly with like governments, municipalities when you were mentioning that?
We do residential too. I've had a lot of people. So like if your backyard is overgrown with like thickets or briars or whatnot, we would come in and clear that out. And I've had a lot. We've done a lot of residential. It's a really good way for people to reclaim their land and take back their backyard.
Yeah, it's kind of a mini version of land clearing or forestry mulching, I would assume. So some of the same
Yeah.
equipment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then for the growth, that's really cool. Interesting. Well, that's awesome. You guys do a lot of different things and looking to grow the business by putting in the new marketing channels. And like we usually tell our clients, I mean, it's basically a multitude of different marketing channels going simultaneously that really helps kind of, increase or kind of substantially increase your inbound lead flows, just being more visible on like every channel that everybody's on. And it kind of all starts working together because then your branding takes hold too, which then creates a memory in people's heads, and then they just remember to call you. So it's the wrapped trucks, with all your branding on the trucks, because that gets hundreds or perhaps thousands of impressions a day just riding along the streets. The signs, being online, being on social media, being in people's inbox with email newsletters, just helpful updates about tree service or what you guys have been up to, that type of thing. Text marketing. So another thing too, you were mentioning when a storm comes through, you'll call some of your existing clients. That's really good. Another thing you can do as well, if you have a database of everybody, you can literally send a text blast to everybody the night before or the day of a storm.
Oh
And,
yeah.
hi, this is Quality Diversified Services. As a repeat customer, we have an emergency response team in your area. Give us a call if you have any tree damage, something like that. That really works. That's very powerful because you're touching everybody instantly, and text messages, I think 98% open rate, whereas email is probably 30%. So that's a really good angle too, if you get to that point.
That's a good idea. I like that.
So everybody's information that you have, you just kind of store it in a database, and whether it's single ops, Arbor Gold, Jobber, or any of the ones. I mean, there's several of them out. It helps you kind of streamline that process and do that. So, well, awesome. Is there any other kind of parting words or wisdom that you'd like to share with other tree companies that maybe they're just getting started out, or maybe they're, they've gotten a lot out of this so far. Maybe they want another piece of wisdom.
Yeah, I would just say the main thing is just keep going. Some days it's rejection after rejection and don't let it get to you. But also just make sure that you have a heart for your customers, because at the end of the day, that's what matters, is them and their need. And they'll know if you're genuine. So keeping that genuinity and just don't give up.
That's right. Yeah, that's really the grit of being a business owner, right? And just keeping going and persevering and not ever giving up. Well, thanks so much for being on today. I know people get a lot of value out of this.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Well, have a great day, everybody. If you're listening, if you got value, comment below this video if you're on YouTube and ask a question. Happy to answer those. Sarah was gracious enough to give us her time today and talk about Quality Diversified Services and where they're going, where they've been, how they got started. So again, until the next episode, we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks.
Thank you.